Western world need to realize that these delusions are actually an illness, especially hatred and anger. It's a really serious illness. And yet it's never discussed. We've got what is it? Massive mental health problem in the West, huge. They're saying it's one of the biggest health problems of all time, the mental health nowadays in the West. And yet no one's discussing hatred, anger, the main delusions. They're the cause. They're the cause of all the depression and anxiety. Until we can control the mind and make it virtuous. First of all, you have to make the mind virtuous, and then you can purify it. We call it the accumulation of merit. Through the accumulation of merit, in other words, making the mind virtuous, you can then prepare it for what we call the path of application, which means realizing the nature of all phenomena, which is quite deep, obviously. So you have to have a clean, stable, patient, calm, still, controlled, restrained mind to be able to focus on the very subtle nature of the truth, the ultimate truth. So first of all, practice virtue, and then eventually you can practice the investigation of how things really are. Any questions, Michael?
Not really. Compassion, that's a good one to practice.
Oh, you shouldn't speak of such a high thing. Compassion is extremely high. It's very, very profoundly high practice. If you want to speak about compassion, just call it kindness, worldly kindness for now. Actual compassion in Buddhism is the Buddha. Yeah, the Buddha had the proper compassion. We are nowhere near it. Yeah, what we've got is maybe a little bit of kindness occasionally, but it's nowhere near enough. We have to have, as you say, full compassion. It's very difficult. Like you were saying, if someone's killed your child, how can you possibly have compassion for that person? But if you stick with it, Michael, in a few years' time, you will have, easily, if you practice. And you must have. Every single being must realize this, because compassion, as Buddha said, compassion is the mother of enlightenment. And so without that universal compassion, you'll never be able to purify the mind, because the truth is we're all the same. So, and even, unless you can realize the equality there, even of the person who killed your child, you'll never be free, because there's what we call duality. Duality means two, me and him. As long as you believe in me and him, you're buggered. You're stuck in what we call a samsara. You're constantly being reborn. That's why this chart is a circle. Buddha had this painting commissioned. This was actually commissioned by Buddha, explained by Buddha, and then the king had it commissioned. And the reason it's a circle is because we can't stop being reborn. Everyone thinks, I'm going to die and that's the end forever. But kind of, in terms of, like I said, peripheral character and identity, but deep down it's indestructible. The actual real mind, the natural pure mind, can never be stopped. So what you have to do is enlightenment. So it still continues, but it's in an absolutely purified state. And that's what we call Buddha. It's very, very high. There's 10 stages of Bodhisattva, and then eventually Buddhahood. And none of us four are anywhere near it. But we can practice to get near it. You know, we can do it. It's definitely possible. That's what Buddha did when he manifested in this world. He proved that it could be done. He purified his mind, did it. But to do that, you have to have, like we say, universal compassion, absolute equality, love for all beings equally. You can't have any partiality. And you must let go of your self-cherishing. Difficult. These are all difficult. Michael's face. These are difficult things to do, but you practice day by day, you gradually do it. Those little tiny opportunities that you don't normally take when you're getting on the bus and you see the annoying teenager, Michael. When you're walking down the street and you see the annoying group of teenagers and you think, get a job or whatever. Instead, with the Buddhist practice, you just, take these little tiny opportunities to not think that and try and think, differently, more kindly. There's things like that. Just start off like that to start with. And what that does is it changes your attitude, and then that familiarizes the mind with a vague kind of understanding of equality. And then you expand on that. You keep going through meditation and practice. And eventually you end up with a very blissful, transcendental wisdom mind. That's where we're trying to get to, transcendental wisdom. Wisdom that transcends all this, all the differences, all the hostility and aggression in the mind, the duality, the space between us and others, and all the causes of suffering, of course, because our negative minds cause us so much suffering, cause us suffering. So the Dalai Lama said, the stupid, selfish, the foolish, selfish person carries on self-cherishing, but the wise, selfish person cherishes others, because the result of cherishing others is you get happy. So if you really want to be happy, then you cherish others. But of course, most people are foolish and they want to be happy and they think just cherishing themselves will do that. But it's impossible. It's poison. You'll actually wanting happiness for yourself will only ever bring unhappiness. Wanting happiness for others is the only way to make your heart happy.
Listen.